What's good, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Amarachi, and we back with another episode of What's the Tea with Miss Amarachi, Bachelor Edition, where we get into the nitty and the gritty of this week's episode of The Bachelor. Whoo! Let's get into it. So, this week was overnights, and overnights are always really interesting to me because I think I've only watched one season of The Bachelor, or maybe two of The Bachelor or Bachelorette, where an overnight was not extended to the contestant, or there was a choice not to do an overnight. And so that's always like a really interesting thing for me because obviously there are connotations that, go with having an overnight. So they're usually sexual connotations, that there are sexual relations that occur. But I definitely think that overtime or overnights are an opportunity for, both the Bachelor and Bachelorette and their, respective contestants to kind of get to know each other on more of an intimate level and, talk about things that they might not be as comfortable talking about when there's cameras everywhere, so on and so forth. So I definitely think that, that's a interesting experience to, go through. And so, just watching kind of the transition between the date and the overnight is really, has always really been cute. But for some reason this season, I don't know why they didn't really show that much of the date. It didn't seem like the dates were as interesting as they might have seemed for them to get an overnight, right? We saw some conversations with Michelle and Matt, and obviously the biggest conversation was between Rachel and Matt. But it just seemed like the conversations weren't it just seemed like a regular date, which I think is how it's supposed to be, but it just, I don't know, it seemed off. Maybe it was just me. But I digress. So the first overnight was with Michelle, and as soon as I saw that overnight, I was like, they need to be together. I love Brie. Brie was in my top two, so I'm very happy that she's still here. But him and Michelle just seem to have a different type of connection. It just seems so beautiful. It seems as if they knew each other in a previous lifetime, and I just really loved, the fact that they were able to talk more in depth, and she seemed very genuinely concerned about him, and I'm going to say this early, even though I'll talk more about it later, but I think it's really interesting that he had the same conversation about his dad with each woman, but Michelle seemed like the only one who asked him about his life. So it made sense that he continued the conversation through the other dates, but I'd be interested to see if Michelle didn't ask him to devolve his life and why he is the way he is, if he would have brought that up with the other women. But so actually, let me take it back. Let me backtrack, because his father came to see him before his date with Michelle. So I definitely think it was a beautiful, beautiful thing to see him be able to confront his dad and really get some clarity and some answers as to why he left. Even though they didn't show us everything, I do imagine that the conversation did continue for a long time. Obviously, again, past what they were able to show us on TV in the 2-hour time slot. But I do think that it was a moment for him to just really be reassuring of the fact that he grew up to be not his father, and he grew up to learn from the mistakes that his dad made. And so I definitely I really appreciated that experience. I just hope that was actually a learning moment for his dad, and it wasn't just about TV and cameras and stuff like that. Because from the relationship that he's described in the past, it seems like his dad didn't really come around. And then when he's on Bachelor, then his dad wants to come around. It's I hope this was genuine and it wasn't just for the, what I'm saying, again, just to seem like you care or seem like he cared. So, it seemed that was a really beautiful conversation. And then he had his one-on-one with Michelle, which again went really well, and I really, really loved. And I was just yeah, this looks like what it's supposed to be. And then we get into his one-on-one with Brie, and it seemed cool, it seemed cute. Again, unfortunately, on the backdrop of his other two dates, they didn't seem as fulfilling to him. But we already knew that he loves Rachel. He's already said this. So it's either going to be Brie or Michelle. And Michelle's date, I feel just went so much better. And I definitely think that Brie already had doubts going into the date, especially because she was picked last in the last ceremony, which she expressed. So I definitely think that, like, you know, it sucks that she had to go home, but when you compare it to like his obvious feelings for Rachel and like his great evolving relationship with Michelle, I definitely think that Brie was like the one that was going to have to go home, and she wasn't going to progress. But he did have his little camp date, and again, that date didn't really seem entertaining. Like, it was just like they kind of showed pictures and videos of them putting up a tent and then talking, and then it just like seemed like it zoomed through and it went straight to, you know, their dinner date, and then he started talking about his dad again, and then it was like boom, now we're in the bed, and then now it's the morning time. So that date was like really went by very fast. I don't even remember a lot from it. Then he had his date with Rachel. Rachel is literally hyperventilating the whole night. This is my thing, right? I understand why she feels that way, because it's like he's with other women. I'm the last one. I hope that he doesn't compare my date to their date. But this is the way that I would envision myself going through this. I don't care about what the other women are doing. Why? Because I'm not going to like make myself go crazy thinking about what he's doing with other women. Like, I'm not going to do that to myself, because I know if I do that, I'm going to fall down a rabbit hole that's not going to end anytime soon, and you're going to drive yourself to insanity. So why are you worrying about what he's doing with other women? You need to be confident in your connection with him. If you're confident in your connection with him, you're not worried about what other people are doing. When I'm confident in what I got going on, I'm not worrying about what other people are doing. I don't care what other people are doing, because I'm worrying about me. And if you have time to spend on worrying about other people's relationship, obviously your relationship is not as tight as you thought it was, sis. So she gets to the day, she's already, you know what I'm saying, doing too much. Then they start doing the pottery, and he can tell that something's off. She like tells him, and she tells him and cries her tears or whatever, and says, oh, I feel sad and all this shit. And then he's like reassuring of her, blah, 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 blah. Their date progresses. Obviously they go, and then they have their, I didn't really pay attention to her date because I don't like her, but they had their overnight. She was good. Cool. Again, this is going to be a quick what's the tea, because this episode was not really like all that. But after he has his date with Rachel, they like boom through the rose ceremony, and Brie gets sent home. I definitely like feel for her. I think that she handled this with grace. One thing that infuriates me more than anything is that she quit her job to stay on this show. Let me tell you something. Baby girl, when your chances are 1 in 36, are you sure you want to quit your job? She must not have liked working there. I don't think she liked working at her job, so she needed it out. Because ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Ain't no way. Ain't no fucking way.
Like, I don't know. I couldn't do it. Like, I don't think I could do that. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I hope she stays in the Bachelor franchise, or somebody, you know what I'm saying, picks her up for a podcast or something, because she gets some monetary compensation. I mean, she don't got no job. She going home with no man and no job. Like, dang, sis, like, you took 2 L's. Like, no. So that's sad. Hopefully she's, again, able to, you know what I'm saying, find a job or find something else to do, because she had to quit hers. But she handled it with grace, you know what I'm saying? She was like, I can't be mad at you. I can't hate you. Like, I only have love for you. So, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate the way she handled that. And I guess looking forward, next week, there's a lot of tears, a lot of emotion, a lot of confrontation. If he don't pick Michelle next week, I'm going to fight. Like, I'm going to fight. I'm going to be so angry. Like, sir, like, Michelle's obviously the best choice. Like, literally, the preview with Michelle and his mom seems so beautiful, so natural. And it's just like, if he don't pick her now, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, if he picks Rachel, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. I might fight. I might fight the walls, because Michelle's obviously the perfect pick. Like, Rachel is unstable, and she got too much going on. And she's a racist. She's literally a racist. She's a bigot. So I don't know how you're going to raise Black children with a racist. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So he better pick Michelle. Next week's going to be interesting, because it's not only the finale, but it's also after the final rose. So we really going to see what the tea is and what's going on. We got a new host, Emmanuel Cho, again, fine ass. And, you know, I'm very excited to see how this transcribes. Because I want him to pick Michelle, but as I said last week, I feel like he's going to pick Rachel. And if he pick Rachel, I'm going to fight. I'm going to be angry. So that's all I got for y'all today. Again, this episode wasn't that interesting, you know what I'm saying? But I still definitely wanted to give y'all my opinion on what's going on. Because I know y'all tune in for it every week. So we gonna see next week. We're gonna see how this thing, you know what I'm saying, unfolds. And I know I said I was gonna do Married to Medicine, What's the Tea, but I watched the episode last night and I decided I'm not gonna do it. My heart is not in it for Married to Medicine. I love the show. I'm gonna watch it, but doing a What's the Tea for Married to Medicine, my heart is not in it, so I'm not gonna do it. If my heart doesn't tell me to do something, I'm not gonna do it. So you know, if there are any other shows that do come up, I'll be back. But as for the finale, you can catch me at the same time, same place, when we get into the nitty and the gritty of that week's episode of The Bachelor. Without further ado, it's your girl, Miss Amarachi, signing off. Toodaloo.